All right, with all due respect, welcome. As the mayor presidential candidate, Raila Odinga has now petitioned the Supreme Court. In his petition, he wants IEBC Chair Wafula Chebukati to be charged with corruption, breach of electoral laws, and ethics. Raila prayers to the Supreme Court also include the assertion that William Ruto did not attain the required 50% plus one of all votes cast. In this breath, then, William Ruto was not validly elected, and Chebukati's declaration on the 15th is in fact null and void. The petition wants the Supreme Court to direct IEBC to tally and verify the count and declare Raila Odinga and Martha Karua as president and as president-elect and Martha Karua as deputy president-elect respectively. I'm joined tonight in our first post-election show, with all due respect, with Dr. Duncan Ojwang, human rights lawyer, karibu sana to the program for the first time, and Professor Adam Zolo, political scientist, second time or regular of the program. Welcome. Gentlemen, let's just get right straight into it, and I think it's to be common courtesy to allow, I think, Prof to make the first pitch on this petition. In very few words, what happened, what is this petition about?
This petition is for the people of Kenya. That on the 15th, I believe that was the day that Wafula Chebukati declared that William Samoei Ruto was the winner of the presidential election. Wafula Chebukati committed a civilian coup. A civilian coup because this constitution is sacrosanct, and the petition will demonstrate that unlike when military coups occur, the first thing they do is suspend the constitution. But what Wafula Chebukati did, which is a civilian coup, was to leave the constitution of Kenya that he swore when he took office that he is supposed to defend as a state officer, put it aside, circumvented it, and abused the very first article of our Constitution, which is that sovereignty belongs to the people. The second one is the supremacy of the Constitution. And lastly, a state officer, especially one that is created under Chapter 15 on commissions and independent offices, that is supposed to protect the sovereignty of the people, that is supposed to make sure that all state organs promote democracy, and that is supposed to defend constitutionally, is the very same person with these two commissioners that committed a civilian coup.
Okay, let's bring Dr. Duncan into this conversation. You've had Prof, and we've read, I'm sure you've read the petition, and it frames Wafula Chebukati at the center of the petition and what Azibiu and Raila Odinga and Martha Karua essentially saying. How do you react? How do you respond to that?
Thank you. I have interesting opening line in the petition by Professor Adams. I think that the petition, the Constitution put Chebukati at the heart of this. I think that the attempt of the Supreme Court to do Chebukati's role not just to talk of justice, but to subvert the chair's role through the petition. The attempt for the Supreme Court to change the will of the people through their ballot cast and do a topsy-turvy, find through the petition alone, not through the vote, but through the petition, by the power of the petition, a new winner is actually the coup. Is actually the coup that Professor Adams is talking about. So while praying for the coup, because it will be a coup,
Given it will be a coup.
to put aside the will of the voters, to usurp the role, not just seek justice, but usurp the role of the chair and the commission, and find that the number 2 is number 1 for no good reason at all. Go against the president, go against the will of the voters.
Isn't the Supreme Court, just you know, so that we start getting the conversion, isn't the Supreme Court, you know, has this sort of responsibility in the Constitution that, you know, and part of the reason why we sort of put the Supreme Court out of the Constitution?
They don't have responsibility to change the will of the voters. They have responsibility to confirm, but not to change the will of the voters. They don't have responsibility.
They can overturn
they can overturn election, but not the will of the voters.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
And that's not just semantics.
Right.
They have no responsibility to play the role of the chair of the commission. They can, upon finding a mistake, that's not playing a role, but not agreeing with the chair, because that is the invitation, that don't agree with the chair and what they undertook, and you become our chair and declare us. And this is where then it becomes troublesome. On one hand, the election is shambolic. That is the petition generally, and fail democracy. On the other hand, declares the winner. How do you marry the two? How do you win in a shambolic election if it is not, you know, tail I win, head you lose, that I must win at whatever cost?
Prof.
How do you reconcile the two?
It's a direct question.
Yeah, you can just see just the way his candidates and coalition made Wafula Chebukati declare a predetermined result, and I shall demonstrate to you how they did it. You can see they are now on an attack line, again on a body created by the Constitution. In fact, the only role given to the Supreme Court, direct role by the Constitution, is to listen to a presidential petition. That's the Constitution. If they want to change the Constitution, let them change it. But that's what the Constitution says. Now, you have heard him keeping on referring to the chair. The chair. Because the chair is a part of them in this civilian coup. Article 253 of the Constitution says that each commission and each independent office, A, is a body corporate with perpetual succession and a sale, and B, is capable of suing and being sued in its corporate name. But they keep on going to you, to the commission, the chair. Let me tell you the faultiness of what they're claiming. If you go to Article 138(3) at C, it says this: after counting the votes in the polling stations, and mark this, James Smart, not the chair, the Independent Electoral and Boundary Commission shall tally and verify the count and declare the result.
What's the role of the returning officer then?
Yeah, that's where I'm going to now.
Okay.
And then I'll tell you the mischief that they're playing. They'll run with you to Article 138(10), which says that within 7 days after the presidential election, the chairperson of what? Of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission shall declare the result of the election. Plain reading of that, what is the chairman declaring? A result of the commission, not the chair's result. Now, let me take you through what happened that you people were seeing on TV. You'll remember, James Smart, that ever since 2007, or even in 2007, whenever elections have occurred, especially presidential, whether it's the media or is it IEBC, there has always been a transparent tallying process. You say Webuye East, you say how much each have got. When you go to Kandui, you tell us what the tallying is. In other words, after 2 constituencies, how much does William Ruto have? How much does Raila Odinga have? After 10 constituencies, you tell us how many does now. Did you see that happening? No. After IEBC took over, you'd just be given results of constituencies with no tallying for everybody to do their math and follow who is where. And then, when 27 constituencies were remaining, even before the 27 constituencies, at some point, Chebukati says that now, instead of going to the tallying table where the party agents were in order to disagree and agree, now the returning officers will bring them directly to me. That's the first step, when he realizes that the count is not working for him. Then he goes and finally, without announcing to us, and you guys of the media were there are still 27 constituencies to go. Voila, he pulls out his final tally without doing what they were all along doing, each commissioner coming and announcing the results. And you saw in his statement, other than saying that the 4 commissioners wanted a rerun, he didn't say what happened to the 27 constituencies, why they did not publicly talk about them, even though they were not telling us the final tally, who is where. And more importantly, I've told you of the 7 days. This was the 6th day. Okay. If they were disagreeing, why was he in a hurry to go and announce it? Why didn't he agree for them to agree on a consensus, and Monday was still going to be the 7th day? Okay. The race to the certificate, the civilian coup. He saw that even these own commissioners were catching him in his own game. He had to rush and issue William Ruto the certificate. And James Smart, let Duncan Ojuang tell us. Because for you,
he's here.
Yeah, and he's a part of the legal team. Let him tell us because it is very clear, according to IEBC regulations, that once you have the result ready is when you call the winner to come and receive the certificate. At what point did Chebukati decide, minus the commissioner, to call William Ruto to come and be declared the winner?
Okay, Duncan.
Yeah. No, this is painful to watch, to see what this has done to my friend Professor Adams.
Just answer what I've asked.
The disbelief.
Let's go to the substantive question.
But
Yes.
it's sad. At the polling station, where, take any polling station, where their running mate casted their ballot, there was counting there of the presidential votes. Was it done by a commissioner? Was there any commissioner in Gishugu? When they said that Azimio had 37 and William Ruto had 900 and something in Martha Karua's polling station, was it done by a commissioner? The verification and tallying, no. How did those maths come about? Because that was tallying and verification from the polling station. So that tallying, if you could not cure it there, carry that results, carry Martha with a 37 and William Ruto with a 900 and something from our own polling station to the constituency. Again, the returning officer did tallying. Was there any commissioner there?
What is it?
No, that's the process. You cannot run from the DNA of this election, and that is the process, so that you zero in on bombers and not even on bombers on the last day, and not even on the last day, on the last 2 hours.
Yes, answer my question.
All right? So I'm walking you through the process. So tallied, verified at the polling station. All parties have their agents. Move it from that polling station, and how many polling stations did we have in Kenya? 44,000 plus polling stations. None had an IBC commissioner.
So what was happening at Bomas?
Then, then you move it to the constituency,
Yes.
you do the same process,
Right.
then it is brought to Bomas, not 1 day, not 2 days, not 3 days, not 4 days. The same process happens again. The same process happens again. Then, so I'm just trying to tell you that the tallying has been going on. Meanwhile, the clarion call, guys, ladies, get to the portal, get out your calculators, do your maths. These are the results. For the 4 days, and I was there, it was a painful process to watch. The first thing each party agent did is to check whether the forms are original, with 9 security features. It was almost dizzying because you could see the spots lighting up in each and every 4 corners of each form from each polling station, the original. By this time, IBC has already given the portals. I've asked parties, go there, come here, not clueless, but to verify that this original form and what you see here as the form that was given as 34A match. That process went on, albeit not so smoothly, but for 4 days. Now, listen to Cherara. Listen to her. Don't take her maths because it will mislead you, but listen to her opening statement. We had a very good process. Now, I don't know why even that is being disputed here. We had a very good process for the last 4 days. In fact, until this morning. Are they going to go back from that?
Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I think we'll have to zero in at Bomas, and what happened at Bomas in those last 2 hours.
That would be deceptive.
I want to take a short break because we have to discuss that. We have time. You're watching With All Due Respect, Dr. Duncan Ojwang and Professor Adam Zolo here on NTV. Don't go too far because when we come back, there's plenty more to unbundle on what exactly happened in this election. All right, welcome back. With all due respect, you're watching our show tonight, the first post-election show, and we're trying to understand what exactly happened in this election. According to Prof, this was a civilian coup. According to Dr. Ojwang, there's going to be a Supreme Court coup. Which coup are we choosing in this? You're making and finishing your point before we sort of get it back to Prof.
Without the context of where bombers come
You've given us the context.
Yes.
Yes.
And I will give some more. But briefly, that we shouldn't shoot from the hip. That bombers is a result of a product. And we must respect that process. And that process began at the polling station. Now, finally, we are at bombers. We are not manufacturing results. Commissioners do not manufacture results. There are consensus on whether to announce the results. The results and the right in Article 38 is not based on the whimsical will of commissioners, so that they can announce when they want, they cannot announce. What consensus did they want about the results? Results are results. And that is why so far you have not seen any dispute about the numbers. What consensus do commissioners want to make about our results?
So what do you say about the dissenting commissioners, and what is their role on actually, in this process? If listening to you, they have no role.
What did they say? The process was very well. We established a very good process until the last day. Why? Because opaque was the word. We slept through the opaque. The next day, the information was we were not shown. Now, one, there is no, the consensus, the bargaining, this is not an auction front.
But still, Doc, if I could push you back, also the chairman is not, running IEBC alone. It's a commission, right? So I'm trying to understand what is the balance in this thing.
No, the balance must come from the Constitution that says that the chair is the returning officer, that those things, or they didn't announce for us the constituency, they were verified on the floor. Remember, the verification ended at night. The day before, people waited until the next day in the evening for the declaration. The verification was over. There is no requirement that when you are beating up Chebukati, he must scream shouting the numbers. That is not a legal requirement. And I think they're convoluting, simply maybe good measures, abundance of caution with what is legally due. What is legally due, even for those commissioners, is a matter of law. So you cannot say, if majority of the commissioners say that we do not announce the results, therefore the result stays. No.
Okay. Prof.
You can see my good friend Duncan struggling. And you see,
all of you are saying,
and you see, when you have blatantly stolen, it's very hard. They belong to jail. Chebukati and those thieves, they just belong to jail.
But he's the chairman. He's the chairman of IEBC.
He has
a role.
He has a
specific role
as per the Constitution. Look here. Duncan keeps on repeating chairman, chairman. This is a chairman of a commission. And if you read this Constitution, it's talking of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. And if you go to chapter 15, the commissions have a chair and commissioners, and then they have norms and rules that guide how they perform their duties. Remember, in the BBI case, there was the question of, can 3 commissioners form a quorum? The High Court and the Appeal Court said that there was no quorum. The Supreme Court, looking at the context under which the same Supreme Court that is vilifying, and they're now going to use its ruling to defend the position of the chair, that's how hypocritical they are, and they have been hypocritical throughout, even during the campaign, said that looking at the context in which the 3 commissioners found themselves in office, and hence not faulting them for the predicament in which they found themselves, decided that they had to read down the Election Act, which provides that quorum is 5 out of 7. And the thing which one has to note, that had the Supreme Court decided that that provision on quorum was unconstitutional, they would have expressly said so. But they didn't say so. For what reason? They didn't say so because the context in which these 3 commissioners found themselves performing their duties, and therefore they went to the Constitution and said that because the Constitution is greater than the statute, then we will go with the constitutional provision that the minimum number of commissioners is 3. And that's how they overruled.
To make every decision.
To make us at that context. But the moment you now have 7 commissioners, then the Elections Act, Section 55, kicks in. Quorum now kicks in because now you are fully comprised. But let me go back to what he's saying, which he keeps on drumming up, as if the chair can unilaterally act. If Wafula Chebukati wanted, and the Maina Kiai ruling has already pronounced itself on this, if Chebukati wanted where he can act with impunity and become rogue, then he should have applied for control of budget, where you are just one person, or Auditor General, or DPP, or Attorney General. You know, those are one-person offices. But the moment you go into a commission, like the CJ, who will be hearing this case, cannot come that I'm the chair of the Judicial Service Commission, I'm the chair of the Chief Justice, and that therefore whatever I say, it applies to Chebukati also. This is the body corporate, and his duty is not supposed to generate results the way he was generating. His duty is to announce the commission's results. And Duncan is not telling you. I heard him say that verification ended a day before. Lie. Lie. We were still waiting in Bomas, and I was there, for the commissioners to come and announce the 27 remaining constituencies. Let him tell us why Chebukati did not announce the 27 remaining constituencies. Why? And there was still one extra day.
You know,
yeah.
With all due respect, law is more than English.
Is it more than mathematics?
Yes, law is principles. And that is...
He hasn't quoted the Constitution.
No.
He hasn't even quoted anything in the Constitution.
And I don't need to.
It is just cliches.
No, I don't need to.
Hypocrisy.
So
let's allow him.
Yeah, it has to take more than simply reading some good English to understand how things relate within law. Because by the time the verification had happened, them standing there, and Cherara did a lot of those, and some of those 4 commissioners did a lot of those, And you can see that now they like them without their maths, okay? Because since he has come to this table, you have seen him almost disowning the mathematical part.
I can talk about it.
If you can mess up in one thing, probably you can mess up in others. But throughout, you saw these commissioners coming out, and it was just a good measure so that people know where they are. There is no requirement. It is the declaration of results. There is no requirement that over speakerphone, somebody stands there and call out the results. And you see, I think that the standard in the Supreme Court is 50 and above. That if you look at this election, was it so bad that more than half of these things failed, of the law were not followed? That is the standard. Because I'm glad that this issue, though emotional, is going to meet judges who judges, and do not bring.
You already said they're going to commit a coup.
No, I'm saying if they go with your emotions, then they will commit a coup. Because you are inviting them. You are inviting them to ignore the people's will at the polling station.
So let's get some clarity here, and perhaps we can help. You know, as we're not trying to try this case, but how do you reconcile Article 138(3)(c) of the Act, which gives the Commission power to declare results, and Article 138(10), which gives the chair the power to declare results? How do you reconcile the two?
The Commission. That's why I took you to the polling station. That there were tallying there, wasn't there? For president, I took you to the constituency. Was there any commissioner there? So finally, then you get to Bomas, and you see the process that went through.
Right.
The part that commissioners must vote is a situation where we do not have results from all the constituencies, and the chair is probably suggesting that we can announce the winner, even though we do not have all the results. Now, that part is very clear that the Commission shall vote if those constituencies that are missing, remember election must be conducted in every constituency, will not affect or alter the results.
But who decides this situation?
We had all the results. We had all the results. In fact, I'm just... there is no conversation among commissioners on should we announce or not. The law does not envision a situation because, or vote, worse even vote, that we are four of us. You are four of us over what? Whose vote?
Okay.
And the three are there over whose vote. It is about the people's will through article, through the form 34A in the polling station. So whether you are majority, whether all the commissioners disagree with the result, there is nowhere which is saying, one, the parties have their agents.
Okay, and before I lose this point and I go to Prof, the same question really, how do you reconcile the two problems that we have between the two articles, 138(3)(c) and 138?
Let me just read them for the viewers, because you have a team which believes in cliches, like bottom up, and you have seen even in this discussion, it is just cliches without referring to the law. Because you have asked a very important question. 138(3)(c), after counting the votes in the polling stations, the Independent Electoral and Boundary Commission shall tally and verify the count and declare the result. The commission.
Mm-hmm.
Then you go.
Does the commission means commissioners?
No, let me, it's me who is on the floor.
Do the right thing on the floor.
But I'm reading the Constitution.
Yeah. Put it in
That
context.
Kenyans.
So does the commission means commissioners?
But why don't you let me finish? I'm the one who is
Finish
on
it
the
well.
floor.
Okay.
Yeah?
He will.
You can see how he's jittery. Because
Prof.
usually they'll tell you bottom up. Then when you ask them, what is bottom up? Then you'll see Alice Wahome struggling, so and so struggling. It's the same way he's struggling. You know, he's their lawyer, but he's struggling with the petition which is coming. At least the Star reported that you are in the team. So blame the Star. 138, you know, it's trying to distract me, but he won't succeed. 138.10.
This is painful.
Within 7 days after the presidential election, the chairperson of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, mark the chairperson of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission shall declare the result of the election. You asked, how do you reconcile the two? How you reconcile the two is that C, 3C, is saying after counting the votes in the polling station, the Independent Electoral and Boundary Commission shall tally and verify. In other words, as he correctly said, the presidential election is held in 290 constituencies. In fact, with the diaspora vote, you can now say the diaspora vote becomes the 291st constituency. So what the Constitution is saying is that as each constituency result comes from the returning officer, it is verified by the commission. And the commission here means the chair and the 6 commissioners. Once, as it indicates, once as it indicates, they tally and verify the count. Then the chair of the commission, who is first among equals and who is gazetted, goes to announce the result as verified and tallied by the commission. And he doesn't disappear for 6 hours, then comes with the result that he has generated.
Okay. So that didn't happen?
Didn't happen.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, with due love and respect, I think that this might be not very good timing for this discussion, but we will try. And then the reason is that the emotion, I support the emotion, but not the arguments. Let me just state it that way. I support the emotion.
What emotion is this?
Cliches,
the emotion being expressed.
I told you it's just all cliches, no substance.
So that when
Quote the Constitution.
there is no polling station.
I can lend it to you.
There's no polling station in Bomas, okay? There's no polling station in Bomas.
Okay.
So obviously, you can see that the process envision a more protracted process than Bomas. Though, some people behaved as if there was polling station in Bomas. Some people thought there were polling station in Bomas. Some people hope there were polling station in Bomas. But there is no polling station in Bomas. It starts by saying tallying in polling stations. Then you go back and realize that the chair is as 3 hats. And those are the things that, you know, maybe quickly glossing over your constitution, you might miss. The chair is not first among equal. The chair is the only person who must have qualification of being a judge of high court for a very good reason. So the chair has additional duty. When the chair performs their function, he is performing or she's performing that function on behalf of the commission. That role is still done by a commission, IBC. Just the same way in my humble polling station, there was an election, there was results announced by IBC without the commissioners. So the chair here, when the chair perform those functions, they are performing it, of course, on behalf of the commission.
Okay.
And let us not convolute or confuse ourselves. You know, the biggest lie is the lie we tell ourselves. I don't mind somebody lying to the viewers, but please don't lie to yourself, because there is the commission, the commissioners are not the commission. The commission is much broader. But in the context where the chair is given direct mandate, there is no way two people can announce the results. By the time the chair is exercising that mandate, the commission has spoken. The IBC has spoken because there is somebody given that duty. Remember the additional. So the chair is also the chair of the commission. The chair is also the returning officer. That voting was not a decision before the commission. And that is where I think that the deception began.
So for you, 138(3)(c) is completely irrelevant.
No, 138(c) has a face of who does that function, which is the chair. But even beyond that, and that is why it is hard to deal with sound bites, because there is a principle. There is underlying principles that we gloss over.
From the Constitution.
So, and yes,
not from his head.
Quickly, because
Let
I need
me
to
talk
go.
of the principle from the Constitution.
If you can do it
And
very
I'll
quickly.
just pick two particular ones. Under Article 81, E at 4, it says, free and fair elections which are transparent and administered in an impartial, neutral, efficient, accurate, and accountable manner. Did you see any accountability? Chebukati was Lord to himself, committing a civilian coup. You even saw, and I'm sure you saw, play that clip, at the point in which he was going to declare the president-elect.
Before he was beaten?
Which security officer was escorting him?
Okay.
Civilian coup.
Okay.
Let's go to Article 86.
I mean,
let's go to Article 86.
Get away with this.
Yes,
let's go to Article 86.
Yes.
Let's go to 86.
Quickly,
Let's
quickly.
go to
Yes,
Article
10
86.
seconds, please.
At every election, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission shall ensure, and you go to see, that the results from the polling stations are openly and accurately collated and promptly announced by the returning officer. Yeah? Did you openly, did your chairman openly and accurately collate and promptly?
Gentlemen, this matter, we're not trying to try the
No,
Supreme
we
Court
can't.
matter. And we thank you for these opinions and thoughts. Dr. Ojwang, karibu sana. Professor Lo, you've done very well. And we'll have you again and again from next week as this matter
after healing. After there is a place for healing.
Okay, thank you very much.
No, let him come even tomorrow.
Even before
Absolutely.
He heals.
All right, gentlemen. A few days ago, our sister publication carried this story of how this new parliament, the 13th parliament, has brought in some troubling characters who will be shuffling between courts, fighting fraud and murder charges, and others, stopping their imprisonment while making laws for you, good citizens of Kenya. The 13th parliament is not different from the 12th parliament in this case, with members fighting the so-called Chapter 6 challenges. The difference this time is voters have increased the number of the MPs elected with these challenges. There are many, like re-elected MPs, John Waluke from Sirisia, from Jubilee Party, Paul Ongili, Elias Babo Owino, Embakasi East, Oscar Sudi, Kapseret, UDA, Silvana Sosoro, South Mugirango, James Gakuya, Embakasi North, Senators-elect Danson Mungatana, Tana River, Kimilili MP Didimas Baraza, who I have to mention is facing imminent trial over a shooting that left his rivals 8 dead. Well, The troubling list goes on and on. But tonight, for a minute, let's focus on two new members of parliament for what it's worth. Let's start with incoming lawmakers, Daniel Manduku and Alan Chesang. We begin with Mr. Manduku. He was elected on an Orange Democratic Movement ticket to represent the great people of Nyaribari, Masaba. Mr. Manduku faces charges related to the illegal award of tenders, occasioning Kenya Ports Authority to lose 1.4 billion shillings. He left KPA in August 2020 over the corruption allegations, which had to be determined by a court. Mr. Manduku is charged with conspiring to commit an offense by approving the procurement of concrete barrier works without approval. He's also accused of engaging a manufacturer of the barriers without planning. Now, the offense the court had were committed at the KPA headquarters in Mombasa between March 29th and August 22nd, 2019. Mr. Manduku, who was also the authority's accounting officer, faces two other additional charges of willfully failing to comply with relevant laws and procedures and guidelines relating to procurement. According to the prosecution, he occasioned misappropriation of 678 million shillings on KPA's budget for the 2018-2019 financial year. Well, it appears all this will be a list of his worries. To be honest. He works very hard for Kenyans in the next 5 years. How about the great people of Trans Nzoia? New senator, well, Alan Chesang is his name. He's the new senator. Mr. Chesang is in court over the 2018 fake 181 million laptop tender at the office of the outgoing Deputy President William Ruto, now President-elect. He was charged alongside 6 others with offering a tender document under the name of the office of the Deputy President for the supply of 2,800 laptops with the intent to defraud the public. They're also charged with forgery. The court was told that Mr. Chesang and others made a local purchase order purporting it to be genuine and issued by the DP's office. They reportedly obtained the laptops from Makindu Motors Limited on the Mombasa-Nairobi Road, claiming to have genuine tender document. The said offences, according to prosecutors, were committed between May 30th and August 12, 2018. Mr. Charles Musinga, the director of Makindu Motors, who's the victim of this said fraud, told the courts, and I quote, that the people who offered the tender to supply the laptops had a police escort and unfettered access to government offices. Mr. Musinga said there was nothing to suggest the deal was fake, and that some of the suspects drove top-of-range vehicles with government insignia. During the collection of the consignment, the court was told a man identified as Kipto, alias Chesang, the senator, was supposedly a personal assistant to Dr. Ruto, who was escorted by police and drove a Range Rover with insignia and stickers of Parliament and the office of the Deputy President. Senator Chesang's fraud case comes for further hearing on October 12th, but he will be busy lecturing Kenyans on integrity and making great laws. The voice of the people is indeed the voice of God. With all due respect, good night. I'm James Mwat.